Hi there, and welcome to another one of my video lessons. I think this is number 17, and it's been a great time doing these things with you guys. Today, I'm going to discuss the verse where it says, "Come unto me, and I'll give you rest." I'll be discussing Christ's yoke, just because so you guys really understand what the verse is talking about. And I found it really interesting, and I hope you guys find it interesting. So here's my lesson. Matthew 11:28-30. Come unto me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I'll give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, and learn from me. For I am lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your soul. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. In this verse, Jesus promises rest for those who come to him. And it speaks of rest for the soul. Now, don't get the soul and spirit mixed up, because those are two different things. The soul is like your mind and emotions and that kind of stuff. And your spirit is what Paul talks about, the inner man. Now, notice this rest comes by taking Christ's yoke upon us. This rest can be had, but there's a requirement. Now, a yoke is a frame of wood where two animals are joined together at the head or the neck. So, I don't have a picture of what a yoke is. It's like a big piece of wood, and it will have two holes, and so, animals will be, side by side like this. Okay, now picture it. You got a piece of wood with holes side by side, and the head of one animal goes through one hole, and the other animal goes through the other hole. This is a device that binds together for working. Now, how can you associate any of this with rest? We don't think of rest when we are thinking of working alongside another. He obviously isn't talking about rest as in lazy or a day off. Speaking of a rest that comes from working, it's almost as he should say, "Come unto me, all you heavy laden, and I'll give you more labor." How can there be any rest while we're hooked up to a yoke working? It's Christ's yoke. You see, in a yoke, the animal who has the most experience with the yoke is always the leader. The leader animal trains the second animal how to operate inside the yoke. The second animal doesn't know anything and learns everything from the lead animal. The lead animal teaches him how to turn, how to walk straight, when to stop, and when to walk in step. So in Jesus, if you want to find the rest, take my yoke upon you and learn from me. He's saying, the yoke is mine. I am the leader. I know the job. Get inside the yoke and learn to walk with me. If you take up his yoke, you will learn to get in step and work together. Jesus knows the job. He has all the wisdom. When you are in a yoke with Christ, we think we are in control and run it. Jesus doesn't need to learn anything. Taking up his yoke involves bowing your neck. This speaks of submission to Jesus Christ. It is saying, I am surrendering to Christ. Most people refuse to bow their necks and take Christ's yoke upon them. And rather than bowing their necks, they raise their necks and refuse to submit to the yoke. When we get in step with Christ, the less important things of the less important the world seems. The Lord doesn't want to cripple you. He wants to break you and channel your strength and bring it under control. Okay, so some might think that, because I say he doesn't want to cripple you, and then he says he wants to break you. So you might think that means the same thing. But for those who do watch my videos, I'll use an example. Like you might see now I was wearing a couple of hockey jerseys. So I'll use a sports analogy. So let's say I go out and buy a baseball glove. You got to break it in so it's usable. So that analogy here says he wants to break you, which means he wants to like mold you so he can use you. See, because when you buy a baseball glove, it's all stiff and you can't really use it. So he wants to break you and mold you so he can use you and channel your strength. Jesus bowed his neck to his Father's will. A yoke isn't something that says, look at me. It's about service. The longer you wear Christ's yoke, the easier it is. When an animal first gets put into the yoke, that yoke is irritating to the animal. The animal doesn't like it because it's not used to wearing it, the device. If the yoke is new wood, the wood would still be rough and have splinters. And those splinters would dig into the animal's neck and cause pain. But as the animal wears the yoke and grows accustomed to it over time, the wood grows smoother. Now with Christ, you might think the yoke is irritating. It might even be painful. But the more you wear it, the better your life is going to be for you. So that's my lesson, and I hope you found it really interesting. Because I did research on this, and because that's what the yoke is all about. Just being in union with Him and walking together with Him. Because like I said, it's not talking about like rest as in taking a day off. It's talking about a rest that you can have when you're walking with Him, whether it's in a storm in your life or if it's just wherever. And that's what I learned, and hope you guys have a good day. God bless.